So here basically we are starting with the questions and answers. First is what actually the attraction is and what is the attraction speed. One person told that India Pakistan land basically is getting attracted by a set of planets. That is basically 20 crore planets. Then basically the person basically who was basically the satellite person basically sorry the scientist, he told that start the war basically, start the war basically so that basically we can break the chain of the attraction basically. So which then basically he told that basically there is no device basically in this world basically which will track basically which actually the creation is attracting, because the reason is whenever for example you created 15 buildings, assume that you created 15 buildings and the effect of that 15 buildings will connect to the universe after a certain time. So that time basically and the mapping basically software people basically don't have. So basically if we have if the software industry basically currently basically I'm not working, so that's why basically I will tell that if software group basically will have that software basically, then basically that will be good for them. So like this, for example, basically the Kargil war started. Like this, basically the China war was also started there. Like this, basically the Ukraine-Russia war started. Like this, basically one person told that basically Gaza and Israel war also started basically. Then one of the army person basically he was very old person. He told that basically 365 years days basically the war basically is always there. And now basically I had gold. Now basically I just got this information that war basically is getting due to the reason is to get the sound effect in the universe. So he told that basically we basically now don't use our brain only, we just follow the orders. They say that the high command says that you have to start the war between these two countries, they basically say yes sir, no sorry yes boss. There is one movie also basically especially created, I think Bollywood group basically know that lots of things basically related to this sound system also. That's why basically they specially created the movie also, yes boss. So like this basically the yes boss movie is also basically created. So Bollywood group basically is connected with each and every sector basically, from this movie only basically you can able to see. So like this basically the Bollywood groups basically is attracting to each and every place basically wherever the problems are coming. For example, I visited 6 times. That time basically Bollywood group was not there. So that basically a different thing. So now basically the thing is what actually up to what level the attraction will be going to be. Up to what level the attraction is going to be. For example, one person told that we within few seconds basically the planet's group was basically very far basically. Now basically they have came very near to Earth planet. What should we do? The universe group says that basically we are tracking that basically for which particular land basically this attraction is happening. Then basically we will give the earthquakes to that land so that basically the attraction will able to break. Attraction can be broken. So just see basically the up to what level the things are basically. The universe level basically also has to be very active basically. They basically can't basically you can say can't be inactive. Inactive means their mind should be always active. If they deactive their mind for just for few minutes also, then within few minutes basically I am telling you lots of planets are going to hit the Earth planet. That's basically my observation basically. I am basically in Earth planet and I basically can tell the entire universe basically how the things are basically working. So if I would be in universe, then basically might have be happened. What might be happen. So here basically we are not discussing the what is going to happen. So like this basically the things are the thing says that The person basically who are handling the universe, they are not supposed to get any types of problem, but they can have the family also, right? They can have the family, they can have the child, they can have the next generation, they can have it, no issue. So like this basically they told that the person basically who is in the universe, they should be always be active, they should be always active. It might possible that within few minutes basically, because you don't know the speed of the planets basically. That's why basically you don't know the set of planets basically in this universe basically. You don't have the list of planets basically which basically exist in the world basically. Sorry, universe world basically. That was world was correct word, but universe basically I missed it. So like this basically the attraction basically says that any laptop basically can attract your body. Any laptop basically can attract your body. Any mobile can attract your body. Any energy can attract your body. And bodies are basically connected with what? Few people says that we have created lots of God also basically for this basically. For each and every human body parts basically we have created God also. And which God basically Hindu basically in Hindu basically which are our gods basically that are basically it's by default basically. Which God are those that basically everybody knows that which God basically are there are those basically. So the each and everything basically the universe creator has created it actually. The group basically you are connected with the universe. They basically say that we have created each and everything basically. Attraction objects basically. Attraction objects basically. So one person told that basically uh, uh, we have basically dumped hundreds types of story basically in that basically land in 150 country basically. That 150 country basically that was basically just experiment basically. How many which type of story basically attracting which of planets basically. So for that basically up to certain level basically we have given torture also lots of people basically for that basically we the person basically who basically knows each and everything they basically connected with European people basically because Europe people says that we have created each and everything and we basically know how basically the things are basically getting created and few people says that the Europe basically before 200 years and currently basically what is the Europe that also basically European group basically knows because they are telling that we basically have saw each and everything. So that is also one of the attraction basically. That is also one of the attraction energies basically. That also basically we are going to discuss. Uh, basically, if, one question basically is already there in this part basically of the attraction of the each and every saw things basically. So like this basically attraction object means what? What is the attraction of the speed basically? One person told that Earth planet is moving so fast basically. No other planet basically is moving faster than the Earth planet. Then one person told that basically the nearby planet that is Jupiter that is moving very fast basically, faster than the Earth planet basically. Then he told that basically yeah basically that also might be possible. Then basically he told that basically how then basically they might be getting the energies of the each and every planets basically. One person told that basically the fraction of the speed of the Earth planet basically. According to that basically that takes the energy. So you can just imagine the tracking information basically of the each and every planets basically. So one person told that basically we have created one tracking information of Earth planet. And according to speed of the Earth planet, only basically the tracking system is created. Sometimes basically it's very difficult to know basically the planet which is moving. It's basically which planet? It's Jupiter, it's Mars, it's Earth planet. Which so then basically few people says that basically for sometime basically we have to create the we should we have to give the identification of the planets. For that basically Earth planet people told that we will basically give one sound effect that this is the sound effect, that means this is the earth planet. That also special sound effect basically, that basically weapons basically has created in the earth planet. That is basically the missiles basically. Few people, Korean people says that we have created this missile, this is going to give this effect in the universe. Japan people says that we have created this missile, that is going to give that effect. Indian people says that we have created Brahma missile, this missile Agni missile, that is going to effect that effect in universe. That is not going to attract the thing basically. For that basically scientists are created, NASA groups are there, ISRO groups are there, which says that we basically checks each and everything basically. Then only basically we send the missiles basically, so that basically the when the war basically starts, when the war basically starts, because sound effect has to be given. So for that basically war has to be happen legally. That is basically approval by the Supreme Court and High Courts of the international level. They basically gives the approval, because that planets are basically attracting. But if we think basically why the planets are basically attracting, then each and every problems basically is going to solve. So one thing basically I have already discussed, that is basically 100 basically people basically experiment has done, and they basically the each and every 10 problem basically was diagnosed by the experiment group basically. They basically few problem basically was solved, and few problem was basically not solved. So which type of problems basically are not solved and which was solved, and according to that the attraction of the planets basically which has happened. Because when the problems are getting solved and when the problems are not getting solved, that time the energies are basically of the earth planet of that particular country also, that is basically captured in the power format. That is basically which is basically the fan basically is working, fan is running basically. That basically power I am talking about. So that basically generates the power, electronic power basically, electric power also basically you can say. Powers are basically generated, that this power basically which is coming just now basically, that is on the base of that particular person basically, 100 problem basically that from coming from that particular country basically. In that country basically 100 problems basically was diagnosed, and from that these problems are basically solved, and these many problems were basically not solved. According to that basically the power supply has generated, and that basically attraction is ongoing. And due to that attraction basically, assume that that power supply basically which was captured the each and every problems, and that power supply basically was given to 150 country. And as the 150 power country as the 150 country basically got that power, suddenly basically the 20 crore planets attracted towards basically some of the countries basically. Why? What was the reason behind that? That was the problems basically was connected with that country basically. So just see how the basically creation is, how each and every problems are mapped, how each and every things are basically mapped. This all basically the Bollywood group basically knows. The writer, the directors, the producers, because producer basically says that we have invested in these areas basically. So we have to know basically how many monies has been captured from these areas and how many basically is has to captured. So like this basically producer group says that is this our area basically which is getting attraction, is the our area is basically giving the problem. So like this basically the things are basically there. So like this the attraction basically is happening from earth planet, from which areas basically, that basically is the one of the project basically of the software industry. So this basically in this first video only basically we generated one project. That is basically the task of the business development officer of the software industry, entire software industry. They basically are supposed to do this all the thing. But currently basically I am doing it. That is basically their task. They should basically supposed to do this all this thing basically. Then basically they told that basically we basically trying to do this, but our top level executive basically says that that's very dangerous thing basically, don't do it. Then basically suffer it. Then basically suffer it and sit at home and basically do the work in from home. Then see what the things basically, what are the things going to attract towards Earth planet basically. Lots of people say that we have basically done lots of things for our employee basically. In Corona basically we have given one facility that is basically work from home. So they have worked from home. When that particular energy basically was captured by the set of energy groups basically power companies, then basically when they send that same power supplies to the cities basically, lots of planets basically was attracting basically, because that was totally different environment basically. Few people says that this was done to break the chain, but in the break the chain basically lots of things basically has happened. Lots of people says that the war also basically started in this basically thing. Few people says that basically company basically has started, then basically they can't have the loss, right? They can't basically get the loss basically. For that basically we have started the company. He also is correct basically. He's all, but he actually never thought this, that this type of situation basically is also going to come. That is basically work from also basically things might come. He basically never thought this. So due to that basically comes into the company setup basically. Company secrets, company setup groups basically. They do that. For that basically they have not created the system basically. For that they have to create the entire cities only for that. If they have created the, for example, one infotech park basically has created. For example, Rajiv Gandhi Park. Or example, Hinjawadi Park in Pune basically. In Bangalore basically also there are Raman Park. I basically submitted my biodata, but there was no response. So like this basically there was many basically the infotech park basically that basically has created, and that's infotech park is going to get the power supply that is also fixed by the power energy companies basically. They have already fixed that this city's power supplies is going to be given to this infotech park. Then only basically these companies are going to get the power supply. That means the projects basically which are going to be created by the software company, that is also basically according to that power supply that basically is going to be created. That basically I have taken one example of the TCS company. That CRM1 project basically, that was a new project in the software industry. That there is one CRM project. There is one project basically called, and the name given was a CRM project. That example actually I have given. For that, the power supply company basically has captured the thing. Then basically they done the meeting of the managers. That basically example. That exactly same thing basically. Like same way, the project basically were basically created by the set of directors basically of the software companies. They told that basically we have the power supply, then we have the power supply of the project basically. We have the power supply, and we are going to get the power supply from these all cities basically. And this power supplies are basically created, but work from home actually, that was totally mess basically, because nobody knows the thing basically, who is working in from what, that is that. So that is basically different thing basically. That has also attracted lots of planets, and lots of earthquakes also has basically has happened. So that also basically we are going to discuss in this videos only. That is basically the question number one basically ongoing. That is attraction of body parts. Sorry, not body parts. Attraction of uh, planets. Body parts basically, then it will convert to planets only. Then basically lots of planets are going to attract here. So like this basically we reached up to what, software industry planets, sorry, software projects basically. For that basically the lots of infotech park has been created, and this infotech park basically told that we are basically having this all software companies basically. They are basically going to get this all project basically, because they have purchased this server basically. And how basically the server is created, that also basically I have told. One person basically has done created 20,000 projects, and 20,000 project was basically dumped into one server. and how basically he created, how basically he got the projects, this, that, that's each and everything was basically dumped into the project into one server. Sorry, for that basically special one server was created. One special server basically was created, and that server basically was purchased by this software company. This software company and this software company basically purchased their server, and basically they recruited few business development people basically, and the business development was people basically was sitting in their computers, and they were basically thinking and doing the mails, this, that, that, and like this basically the server basically group basically told that we have already mapped each and every projects basically how they are going to get the projects. So like this, basically they connected with the brain mapping of the servers basically, and then basically they connected that this person has to be male, this person has to be like this. Each and everything basically mapping was done. Like this, basically they were getting the projects basically. So just see basically the business development officer basically brain mapping, business development groups brain mapping. This basically many less people might be knowing. The server basically creation groups, they basically 100% know. The server creation groups are IBM, Microsoft, Compaq, Dell is also there. I am using Dell. Then HP is there. So these all are basically big server companies. They are basically attracting each and every projects basically. So that attraction means each and every attraction has been mapped in the server basically, and which was basically long before basically that was basically hard work done by the set of one set of business development officer that is basically not connected with the software companies. He basically created the projects basically. He was a business analyst basically who told that basically I know each and everything basically, so I will basically create the projects and I will do the mapping basically how you are going to get this project, how basically you are going to get this project by mailing this person, by mailing that person. He will be going to reply you like this basically. Just see the each and every mapping basically is done basically by the business analysis group basically, that if you are going to mail this person basically he is going to reply you like this. That is also map basically, map. Like this mapping is done, then basically you are going to get the call from this person, then basically he's going to tell that use this email id. Like this basically in corona basically lots of things has happened, right? Lots of email ids has been changed because they know the server basically, people basically who created the server basically they know that this is one chain, so they created different chain, and they basically started doing the business development work. Like this basically each and every things are basically connected, and each and every things are attracted. So this is basically the first question basically ongoing, that is basically what is the attraction speed of the planets, of the energies, of the ideas, of the thinking, each and everything basically we are going to discuss in this one first question basically. Each and everything basically we are going to discuss, and the business development example is the best example basically. Nobody basically is going to teach this in your MBA, in your Harvard University, in your Oxford University. Nobody is going to teach this basically, and this basically you are getting in this video basically. The Harvard group also basically will say that basically no, basically we basically never got teaching on like this basically. Oxford group also basically the people who basically has taken study from the Oxford University, they will also basically say we basically never got this type of teaching basically from the Oxford also. From the Oxford group also basically in the business development in the MBA basically of the Harvard, Oxford, and basically other universities has also there. There also basically we never got this type of thing basically, that real business world is like this basically. We are getting the business world, sorry, business development like this. We never got this information, but you have given the information. So like this basically the server company basically told server companies got activated. They basically changed each and every change basically because the corona has activated. They told that basically the corona is activated, so basically we have to change each and every email id, this, that, that, because they basically think that basically corona will finish our each and every development thing basically, because their thinking are like this. Their thinkings are negative thinkings. They never thinks positively. So like this, the each and every server companies told that we have attracted, we repeating the words, we have kept our server in that way basically, in the attraction mode basically, so that the business development person basically, he's going to mail to that person, this person, and then basically the attraction mapping is going to happen, and then basically he's going to get the projects. So how basically is going to get the projects? That attraction mapping basically we have done in the server basically. That is IBM server, Microsoft server, Compaq server, Dell server. So you can just imagine what is ongoing. This whole thing basically you will never get in the MBA also. MBA basically teach you what the systems basically, how the system works, how the company basically works, how the things basically gets works. But this basically thing is the very dangerous thing basically, which just now basically you are listening in this video basically. That is how basically the servers basically are getting handled, and what actually the server is also. So according to that, they gets the projects, and the project managers basically, project directors, they basically starts the projects. After that only basically senior directors also basically starts the project after this only, after this mapping. So after this mapping, the mapping is done, and the business development basically officer basically got the project, and after that the senior project managers basically mapping starts. Senior directors basically CEOs, vice presidents mapping starts. So this is very dangerous. So like this basically, this is number one part. This is first question basically ongoing. What actually the attraction is, and up to what level the speed the attraction is supposed to be, and who basically controls this attraction, because this is directly connecting to planets. Because when the ideas are basically getting, the things are basically getting, the projects are basically getting created, the vegetables are basically getting created from the projects. Assume that the project is which is the business development officer has got, that basically is going to generate vegetables, and that vegetables is going to generate the energies, and that energy is basically is going to create lots of things, and the attraction is going to happen after a certain time. Because when the power supply is going to capture the each and every energies, and when basically they are going to send the power supply to each and every house, each and every areas, each and every cities, that time basically the attraction happens. And this basically lots of people says that in real basically the power supply company really sends the data, or the some another energy company sending the data, or basically the power company has sent kept as in middleware basically, that you are basically sending the data, energy companies are not. So lots of things are there basically, what actually the attraction is, and up to what level the effect is going to happen. So this is basically the first questions answer ongoing. In next video basically we are going to see this questions answer, this first questions ka answer.